Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 84 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. So, have you ever justified a purchase by saying it's only a few dollars? I think we all have, right? But how much does a few dollars add up, especially when you think about all of those little small purchases that we make? Now, today, we're going to be revealing some of the most common small purchases we're making, along with some pretty eye-opening statistics. You guys have got to hear this. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad, and welcome to today's show. So, guys, it's only a few bucks, right? And that is what we're talking about here today. And, you know, it's been such a long time. Our spending habits have changed so much that, man, I don't spend money that way. It was hard. This is a hard episode for me to, like, think back to those days. But there's this, do you guys remember the meme that was popular? It was popular back in, I think, 2020 is when I started seeing it more often. But the meme was like, how do you blow $10,000 a year? And it was saying you only just have to spend $27.40 a day to blow 10 grand a year. Isn't that eye-opening? To blow $10,000 a year, you only have to spend $27.40 a day. That's unbelievable.
How easy it is to spend $27 a day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's unbelievable. I mean, I can take my son to Taekwondo and $27, man, or anything. I mean,
we just
go to McDonald's.
We just stopped for ice cream yesterday. We stopped at a different spot. It was $17.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, McDonald's. Like, we went on a little camping vacation, and now that we're done with our Eating Out challenge, we've been going out to eat, and we were running out of time, so we stopped at McDonald's, and I normally don't stop at McDonald's. Not a huge fan. Sorry. I'm just not. And there are so many better choices nowadays. But anyway, so we stop in there, and it's been such a long time since I've been in there. All of a sudden, I started looking at the prices. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, my wife's like, is this seriously your first time ever out of the house? Have you not know? It's like, it's just been such a long time since I've been at McDonald's. Like, I couldn't believe how expensive it's gotten over the years. I just haven't been there very often.
Yeah, this episode for me is it hits home because this is 100%, and even still, and as we go through this, I'll kind of bring up some examples of even recently where we've gotten caught on some of this stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, it was easy for us just to say, you know, it's not that much money. It's not that much money. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you realize, and it's even not just the purchases, it's those purchases where it's like, it's only $10 a month. Yep. You know, it's only $15 a month, and you just keep doing that, and suddenly you realize you got $200-$300 worth of stuff a month you're spending money on.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about subscriptions here in just a second, but let's kick it off with the most common expense that most people overspend with. That we've done some surveys in our groups, that at least an unofficial survey that proves that this is true. Is food. We just talked about McDonald's, but going out to eat, but. I think this statistic's pretty low, but what are we spending on food? The average American household spends about $3,000 a year on dining out and going out to eat. So this doesn't even include grocery shopping. I didn't put that statistic in here because obviously going grocery shopping is just, you know, a cost of being a human. Like, we need to feed ourselves. But going out to eat is a privilege. But $250 a month. Now, I personally feel that that's low. Based on the budgets that I've seen, and some of the reports from some of our Roots members or people that have gone through a lot of kind of the to-do items that we talk about, like going back and looking at your last 3, 6, 12 months worth of expenses and total up what you're spending on certain categories. And most people are spending way more than $250 a month on food. Another one, though, when it comes to grocery shopping that you kind of got to look out for that a lot of people miss is food waste, like food you just don't eat. And I use this statistic a lot. I found this statistic a couple years ago, according to SaveTheFood.com. An average American family of 4 throws away $1,500 in food per year. That's $125 a month, which is mind-blowing to me. And sometimes it's almost impossible to not throw away. I mean, you have to be so perfect when it comes to managing your food at home. Like, we still throw away a little bit, but this statistic really woke me up big time.
I believe it though, because when you're not planning properly, you just go buy groceries, whatever, or you decide, oh, we're just going to eat out tonight because I don't feel like cooking.
Yep.
The food you planned on cooking does go bad and you do throw it out.
Yep.
So I don't doubt that amount at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you overcook, right? This is something I hear a lot from our single roots members is, I'm only cooking for myself, or maybe they're a single parent, myself and a child, and they might overcook and they cook too much food and then it gets thrown away after it's been cooked, right? So that's something you just got to be mindful, be a little careful of. The next one is coffee. This one's pretty, this one's pretty eye-opening. Listen to this. This is crazy. What are we spending on coffee? According to Amerisleep, people ages 25 to 34 are spending the most on coffee, $2,008 per year. That's $167 a month on coffee. This was followed by the age group of people aged 35 to 44 who spend $1,410, which is $117.50 per month. After the age of 44, the numbers go drastically down. So you can see that this is a very generational thing here, where we've got a lot of millennials and people, Gen Xers, people that are spending a lot of money on some of that coffee. And again, we're not here to beat people up for this. This just gets you to like, whoa, we're spending a lot. And then when we break it down into men and women, sorry ladies, spend $2,327 a year on coffee, whereas men spend $1,934 a year on coffee. It's a lot. I gave up coffee. I used to stop. I wasn't an everyday coffee person, but I did stop at Dunkin' Donuts quite a bit. I would say a couple times a week. But 1, 2, 3 times a day, that wasn't happening. But I gave that up. I do all the coffee at home now, for sure. And I started that even when I was working. Like I knew that there was a big expense that I could save, or an easy expense that I could save a lot of money on and get out of debt quicker.
Yeah, coffee was never really like, I would stop once in a while, but it wasn't a daily thing for me. But I've always made my coffee at home and I'm fine with that. But when I did work outside of the house, they had a coffee maker at work. So we just made coffee there. So yeah, nothing crazy for me, but I believe $2,300. Heck yeah. You get into those Starbucks specialty coffees, it's probably more.
Yeah. But even with, how advanced and or more readily available a lot of the ingredients are for coffee, you can make some pretty good stuff at home. I know it's not the same, right?
Brad, it's not the same.
But you can make some pretty decent stuff. Let's talk a little bit about subscriptions. So this is from westmonroe.com and their article, America's Relationship with Subscription Services, which, by the way, subscription services, how you pay for things has become just a huge thing. They have subscription services for cars now. For lots of different things you can do subscriptions for. It's unbelievable. But they said, we suspected people underestimate how much they spend on subscription services. So to begin our survey, we played a little game to test the theory. It involved 3 steps. We began by asking people to think generally about reoccurring monthly expenses associated with digital services, devices, and subscription boxes. Then we gave people 10 seconds to guess how much they spend per month on such expenses. After recording an initial answer, we asked people to take 30 seconds to think about the question more carefully before answering a second time. We then prompted them with specific examples of services and service categories. So again, now they're kind of bringing up some of these things, like including Wi-Fi, mobile services, Netflix, Spotify, Birchbox, Dollar Shave Club, so on and so forth. And here's what they found. The average of first guesses, which means they had 10 seconds or less to guess how much they were spending on subscription services. The average first guess was $79.74 per month. That's what they guessed. The average second guesses, which they only gave them 30 seconds, was $111.61. So by giving them 20 more seconds and a few examples of some of the subscriptions that they could be subscribing to, they immediately upped how much they were spending on a month, which comes out to a 40% increase in estimated spend between the 2 guesses. Then it goes on to say, next we took people through an exhaustive inventory of their recurring monthly expenses across 21 categories. So again, very much like I just said, print out your bank statements, 3, 6, 12 months, your credit card statements, and go through and do an exhaustive search of all of your subscription services. A number of the services, particularly apps, have free versions. So for this analysis, they say that we focus solely on consumers using paid versions of these apps. Now, once the respondents' inventories were complete, we had a new number to contend with. Get this. The average now was $237.33 across 21 categories. Now, again, the first guess was $79.74, giving them 10 seconds just to guess off the bat. The second guess, 30 seconds with a few examples, was $111, but the actual spend, on average, that people were spending was $237.33. That's a 112% increase from the first to second guess, and 197 increase from the first to the actual spend. So the reason I wanted to include this is because this is actually happening. I mean, I think in a lot of cases when it comes to people who are managing their finances without an actual real written budget, they're doing mental math, and this proves that mental math is really, really bad, right? So if you have a lot of these super small expenses, these subscription services, it is highly likely, unless you've been really paying attention to them, that you are likely spending a lot more than you think you are. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and this goes for us. I mean, this is something we just took an inventory again for us because we have, you start adding up some of the, all the different TV services now they offer. And, we just actually had, we've been paying our phone bill for a long time. Like a couple months ago, all of a sudden we're like, we have insurance on here. We probably don't even need that. Like that's to me, that's a subscription. We don't really, it's a monthly fee that we don't have to pay, but we're paying it. We're paying like, I think it was $15 every month that we're sitting here paying for insurance on a phone. So this is something you constantly fight. And I'm 100% guilty of, you give me a free trial, I'm going to take it.
Yeah. and then I'm going to forget to cancel it.
And then my wife is going to yell at me because I don't remember to cancel it. So 100%. I mean, this one I still fight to this day because it is easy to just like do it and be like, oh, that $5 came out. I'll remember to do it. And then you don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to in-app purchases. So what are we spending on those in-app purchases? According to Sensor Tower, 2020 was a record-setting year for both mobile games and non-game apps. And we've talked a little bit about this on this show, doing these micro purchases. And consumer spending on the Apple App Store and the Google Play soared to new heights as users turn to their mobile devices for education, employment, and entertainment. Obviously, with COVID happening here mostly in 2020, consumers spent nearly $111 billion globally on in-app purchases, subscriptions, and premium apps across both marketplaces, according to preliminary Sensor Tower store intelligence data. This figure represents 30.2% year-over-year growth from 2019, when app stores generated $85.2 billion. So are we likely to see this number is going to increase? Maybe not as dramatically, but I guarantee you year after year that number is going to go up as more things go digital and more things are offered digitally. And we talk about this, quite a bit. There's this whole conversation that you might hear from time to time about people saying, oh, let's just go to a cashless system. And this is why a cashless system can get dangerous, because you don't actually feel the money leaving your hands or leaving your wallet when you make these in-app or electronic purchases. Like, it's just magically gone. To the point where you almost have to teach your kids, like, money isn't just magically there. Like, we have to make it, and you have to almost show kids, like, visually, here's the money, and here's where we put it in the bank, because right now society is getting so withdrawn from it. It's like, it's easy to just think, like, money just appears out of nowhere, right? So you really got to be careful with these really small micro purchases from an electronic standpoint.
Yeah, this is where the video game industry has done a phenomenal job of transitioning to a lot of games where, like my kids play, have become free to play because they can make more money giving you the game for free and then charging you the $5, $10, $15, $20 for the different things in the game.
Yep.
And so they've just done a great job. And I would, you don't have the statistic here, but I'd be interested. It's in the billions and billions and billions of dollars for these game companies to do that.
Sure. Right.
And that's why they do it. Because they know it's easier to drop $10 than it is to drop 60 on a game.
Yeah.
But you'll drop $10 more often.
You got it. Yep, absolutely. And my son plays Fortnite, and we finally just allowed him to start playing that within the last 6 months or so. And so he always wants the V-Bucks, right? The V-Bucks for Switch. And he keeps telling me the amounts, and it's like, well, it's 2,000 V-Bucks. Okay, I don't know what that means. Like, how much real money is it, right? So we've had to try to get him to break it down. Like 2,000 V-Bucks equals this amount of real dollars, right? But you're totally right. Like, for that game, he got it for free, but he's likely spent, money that he's earned from us, but his own money that he's gotten for Christmas. He's probably well spent over $200 on that game by now, easily. Yep. And just upgrading his skins and his weapon or whatever, whatever you can get on that thing. Yep. But yeah, you're totally right, and it's not going to stop. This is going to continue to keep happening. So you really got to be mindful of those purchases for sure. And I've got a lot of couples that have come to me, and I've done coaching calls with couples where one couple is like really concerned about the other partner's like in-app purchases, and it's like causing a lot of stress on the budget, causing them to miss payments because they're overspending using a debit card. So yeah, this can get really out of control really, really quick. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to mention about half a dozen more small purchases that could be eating up your hard-earned cash. Stay tuned.
Hey, if you love planners, this is for you. But do you know why planners frustrate me? Because they only really get it half right. Now, sure, they're really good and fancy about helping you manage your time, which is really important, obviously. That's what a planner's for. But where they get it wrong is money, the second most valuable resource in our lives. Most planners don't include any financial planning, things like, keeping track of paydays, bills, due dates, spending, yearly expenses, budgets, cash flow planning, debt elimination plans, and goal planning, right? None of that stuff. That's a real pain. And then what? Then you got to create your own in some silly binder, right? And who has time for all of that stuff? So instead, what happens? Nothing, right? A lot of people tend to ignore their finances even more, and things only get worse. Well, that all ends today because I am so excited to announce and release my brand new, totally awesome Debt Freedom Planner. This thing's awesome, by the way. Now, before you say, Brad, I've already got a planner. This is not an ordinary day planner. This is the Debt Freedom Planner, which is a companion tool that works with your day planner, and it's built to help you manage your money, pay off more debt, and melt away financial stress. And I believe this is the tool that a lot of people who want to take control of their finances have been waiting for. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on the Debt Freedom Planner in the menu to get access to your planner today.
Hey guys, we are back talking about it's only a few bucks and how that statement can eat up a lot of your hard-earned cash. And next one we're going to talk about is gas station and convenience stores. This is a big one. This is a one that I see a lot of our Roots members, especially when they initially start, struggle with. And I mean the convenience store marketplace, just the amount of convenience stores that have now popped up. I mean, it's staggering. I mean, they're all over the place. But what are we spending at gas stations and convenience stores? According to GasBuddy.com, 60% of consumers purchase food and beverages at a convenience store, which that you're not getting the best deal when you do that. That's why they call it a convenience store. You are paying a convenience fee by buying those items there. According to Statista, in 2019, the average in-store convenience store transaction was $9.02. And 95% of customers who go to their local convenience store to purchase a lottery ticket, which, by the way, we just had a podcast episode not that long ago about lottery, but buy at least one lottery ticket, buy one other item during their visit. And almost half of all the lottery tickets sold in the United States are through the convenience store industry, which is why, and again, if I'm looking at this statistic and I'm a convenience store owner, I'm like, I'm going to sell the lottery because I know that majority of people that are going to come through there are not just going to buy a lottery ticket. They're going to buy other items. But you got to understand that, like I said, you're paying convenience for those things. So again, going back, looking through those bank statements and looking at what it is that you're truly spending on some of these things, you are likely able to save yourself a ton of money by just going to a general grocery store to buy a lot of those convenience items and just having a little bit better of a better plan. Next,
Brad, it's not as convenient.
No, it's not.
I pay at the pump every single time I go to the gas station, and my husband never does. And I said, why don't you just pay at the pump? And he's like, I don't know, I just don't like to. Every time he goes into the gas station, he comes out with at least a drink or more. Every single time. I'm like, really? And it happens all the time.
Isn't that interesting?
Pay at the pump.
even when I was in debt and I spent a lot of money, I was. It's hard for me to relate because I was never. I've never been really a convenience store shopper. Like I just never did. I was always pay at the pump. Rarely would go in. So yeah, it's hard for me to connect to that. But there's a lot of people who do it, and there's a lot of people who spend their money there. No question. Next one, which a lot of people kind of miss this one. In fact, I have one sitting on my counter right now that I still have to send in, is miss promos and rebates. And how much money could you possibly be losing on rebates? Listen to these statistics. This was pretty eye-opening to me. According to Investopedia, how mail-in rebates rip you off, between 40% and 60% of rebates are never even redeemed. That is fascinating. This is according to Edgar Dworsky, founder of editor of consumerworld.org. And he goes on to say this: companies ensure that the redemption rate stays low by making it as difficult as possible for consumers to actually claim the rebates themselves. So, when you're in the store and you're looking at those items and they're going to give you that $10 rebate, right? 40 to 60% of people are going home and saying, it's not worth it to fill it out. I'm just not going to do it, right? And I'm guilty of this one. There's no question. Like I said, I've got one probably from 4 weeks ago now. And I may have missed it, right? That's still sitting up on my counter that needs to be redeemed. But these are easy ways that you could be losing some of those dollars. Next one is banking and financial fees. And guys, this one hits really close home to me. I can remember I had my first kind of real full-time job, and we go out to lunch, and one of the coworkers is with me, and I'm like, I need to stop at the bank and get some money and to get some cash out for lunch. So we stop at ATM, and I put my card in there, and he's like, they're going to charge you a $5 fee. Do you want to do that? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how much do you want me to take out? And I'm like, only $20. I just paid 25% interest on my $20 by putting that $5 fee on there. And he's like, no. He's like, that is stupid. He's like, I will buy your lunch. Go to your bank and get money out and just give me the money back. He's like, what are you thinking doing that? But back then, I didn't really think about it. It's like, it was just the convenience of, I need cash. You go to the ATM, you take the cash out, and you just pay the fee. And those fees still do exist, but the fees have gotten even more substantial when you start adding up like things like overdraft fees. And according to Forbes, banks charged $12.4 billion with a B, $billion in overdraft fees last year. That is astounding to me. How much money they're making off those overdraft fees. But other fees are monthly maintenance fees, obviously your ATM fees, which we just talked about, your overdraft fees, low balance fees. And according to the Simple Dollar, if you're on an average American family with a mortgage on a medium-priced home, at least one car payment, an average student loan burden, and just one credit card with an average balance, the other fees you're paying is interest. And check this out. You could be paying $8,000 plus just in interest each year. Just in interest. So if you break that down monthly, your debt management fees could be well over $600 a month just for having those payments. So again, these are all just that interest rate is only 1.9% or 2.5% or whatever it might be, right? Or whatever those credit cards are, or whatever your other bank fees are. All of these things add up month after month. And they add up to a pretty big number. And then last but not least, let's just talk about cheap stuff and stuff that's on sale. And I mean, I don't have any major statistics for this one, but buying cheap can also lead to spending more down the road or leading to just overspending at the store. In fact, shopping at the dollar store, shopping because just things are cheap. I have one Roots member who their big win is that they're able to actually look past the cheap little baskets at Target, right? When they go in, they have those cheap little baskets at the front of the entryway. And she said that I would always go in there and just buy a bunch of stuff that I didn't need. She's like, now I don't even go in there anymore, right? So it's a lot of this just cheap, inexpensive stuff or stuff that's just on sale, and you buy it just for the sake because it's on sale. And in a lot of cases, what some of these companies do is they make it look like it's on sale, but really it's just the normal price of the item. So you really got to be a smart consumer when it comes to some of those items, because that extra 10% off or 15% off, you may not even really be saving that. That could just be the actual price of the item because of the way that they're marketing and selling a lot of those items that are in the store. Also, you'll hear marketing messages that say spend more and save more. Does anyone ever understand that one?
I hate these. I absolutely hate these. I hate the grocery store, buy 3, get it for this price, but if you only buy 1, you get it for this price.
Right.
I hate those. I only need 1.
Yeah.
All went and bought a pair of shoes a couple days ago. It was buy 1, get 1 half off. He goes, do you need some shoes? No. I said, do you need 2 pairs of shoes? He goes, well, not really. Then buy 1.
Just buy 1. Right.
It's funny. We just had this in the grocery store the other day. We were grocery shopping and there's these breakfast things that I like. And my wife uses one of those apps to save money. And so I grabbed 2 and she's like, oh, well, grab 4 because if you buy 2 more, I'll save 50 cents. And we just laughed. And I said, well, hang on a second. So I got to spend $5 more to save 50 cents.
Yep. But it's amazing how well that works.
Yes. Yes.
And it gets you to buy a bunch of extra things. And again, it's death by 1,000 cuts, just that little bit amount. And then you multiply that over a bunch of other purchases throughout your lifetime. That adds up to a huge, huge amount of money. So again, at the end of the day, I mean, are you able to avoid a lot of these smaller purchases? Not entirely. But with better behaviors, better habits, and simply just by being intentional and paying attention to it, you could save yourself a considerable amount of money. Remember, it only takes $27.40 a day to blow 10 grand in 1 year. So go back through your bank statements, 3, 6, 12 months, your credit card statements, and go through and highlight a lot of those smaller purchases and ask yourself, did we really, really need to buy some of these things?
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's
All right. That sound means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And today we're kicking off with Ann Brusitis. Ann says, we question almost everything we buy. How timely is this celebration, right? And we ask if it's really necessary to spend that money. Yes, just taking that extra second can save you a lot. Great job, Ann.
Gina Millette, last month was my first crappy budget and we overspent by $845. This month's budget was on target. We underspent by $86 and we're able to pay down debt and add to the sinking funds.
That is a huge win. Just think about the difference. And she just joined Roots back in beginning of May. So just a 2-month difference. First month, crappy budget, not so good. Second month, huge learning curve. Look at that. And how much of a big difference that made. That's a great win. Great job, Gina.
Stacy Altapeter, I have cooked every day this week. No eating out. I'm so sick of dishes.
I'm with you. Oh, I feel that pain. We do not have a dishwasher in our house, so I know what it's like to do dishes. But good win. Great job. Bobby Johnston, I sold $100 on Facebook Marketplace. Huge congratulations to you. Great job.
Tammy Yankee paid $1,021 towards debt, including 1 old debt. Put $200 into sinking funds. Ate out tonight for the first time in a long time.
Huge wins, Tammy. Congratulations.
Mary Southard, I paid a little less on debt this month so I could pay cash for a camp my daughter wants to attend.
Love that win. And just, slowing down a little bit of the debt, but still paying cash, not stressing out her budget, going into debt for it. As we talk about on the show, you can still have fun and do a lot of things. You just do it with a plan. So great job, Mary.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our YouTube show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback on this video. And if you want the latest from the show, obviously be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And for the latest resources, or if you want more information on how to kick debt and financial stress, please be sure to check out the links in this video or head over to therealdebtfreedad.com. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show. Take care.